What no one expected, what no one could have possibly imagined, was that the star of the event, a calm and disciplined German shepherd named Rex, would suddenly stop in his tracks, lock his eyes on the massive painting that hung just above the stage, and growl. Without warning, Rex lunged. His teeth tore through the age canvas with fury. Screams rang out. Confusion spread. Some thought he'd gone rogue. But when the painting fell, revealing what was hidden behind it, the entire room went silent. What Rex had found would expose the school's darkest secret. It was supposed to be a standard community outreach day. Officer Mark and Rex were invited to Jefferson Middle School to do a demonstration, part of the department's effort to build trust and educate kids about safety. The gymnasium buzzed with excitement. Kids sat cross-legged on the hardwood floor while teachers stood along the walls, smiling politely. Rex sat alert by Mark's side, ears perked, scanning the crowd as if he were already working. The demo started as usual. Rex showcased his obedience, responded to scent commands, and even performed a mock search with ease. The kids clapped and laughed as he trotted back to Mark, tail wagging, proud and calm. Then something changed. As the applause died down, Rex's demeanor shifted. His tail dropped, his ears sharpened, and his body stiffened. Without warning, he turned sharply and stared at the wall, specifically at a large faded mural near the exit. Mark noticed immediately. Rex didn't move like this unless something serious was happening. Mark gave a quiet command to return, but Rex didn't budge. Instead, he took a step forward and growled low in his throat, his eyes locked on the painting. The gym grew silent. Something had caught Rex's attention, and Mark knew better than to ignore it. Before anyone could react, Rex bolted. In a flash, the trained canine leapt toward the mural on the wall. Teachers gasped. A few kids screamed, and Mark's instincts kicked in. "Rex, wait!" he called out, but the dog had already made his move. His powerful paws hit the wall with force, claws scraping against the old canvas as he began to tear into the lower corner of the painting. It wasn't aggression. It was focus, precision. Rex wasn't just acting out, he was investigating. Mark had seen that expression before, usually on serious drug raids or high-stakes searches. Something was behind that painting, and Rex was determined to get to it. The mural, which depicted a scene of children reading under a tree, started to peel away. Large chunks of canvas flapped as Rex clawed and tugged at the material. Mark rushed over, grabbing Rex by the harness, trying to stop him, but then he paused. That smell, faint but distinct, a sharp, acrid scent. Mark's eyes widened. It wasn't just old paint or mildew, it was something more dangerous. Chemicals, possibly explosive residue. Rex had detected something serious. The room was no longer a classroom, it had just become a potential crime scene. Mark crouched beside Rex, his eyes narrowing as he peered behind the torn painting. Dust floated in the sunlight coming through the windows, casting a hazy glow over the cracked wall. What he saw next made his breath hitch. There was a small wooden panel embedded into the wall behind the canvas. It had no visible hinges or handle, but it was slightly ajar. Rex let out a low, rumbling growl, his nose pressed against the gap. Mark reached forward and gently pulled it open. Inside the hidden compartment was a metal box, old, rusted, and locked with a strange mechanism. It didn't look like something a teacher had stashed away for safekeeping. It looked deliberate, secretive. He carefully pulled it out, setting it on the ground. A teacher, pale-faced, whispered, "What is that doing behind a painting in a school?" Mark didn't answer. He was already calling it into the station, asking for backup, and a bomb squad just in case. While they waited, Rex remained alert, his ears up, his body blocking access to the box. When the squad arrived, they quickly contained the item and ran a scan. The results sent a wave of disbelief through the room. Inside the box were documents, decades-old maps, building schematics, even a small firearm wrapped in cloth. But most shocking was a folder marked classified containing photos and coded letters tied to a Cold War intelligence operation. This wasn't just a forgotten box, it was a piece of hidden history buried in plain sight. The next few days at the school were anything but ordinary. News vans crowded the parking lot, reporters eager to cover what was now being called the hidden Cold War vault. Inside the school, investigators worked around the clock, combing through every inch of the old building for more clues. Historians were brought in, and what they uncovered shocked everyone, even the most seasoned professionals. The school had unknowingly been built atop a covert intelligence station during the height of the Cold War. Back then, the sleepy town was a quiet but strategic location, perfect for hiding communication equipment and personnel out of Soviet reach. The compartment behind the painting had been used as a dead drop location, a secure spot where intelligence officers left messages, maps, and sensitive data for couriers to retrieve. The painting itself had been hung decades later by a well-meaning teacher, completely unaware of what it covered. The classified documents revealed names, operations, and encrypted communications that had never been made public. Some of the individuals mentioned were still alive, now elderly and scattered across the country. A few were contacted and confirmed the school's strange past with quiet nods and teary eyes. Parents were stunned. Students were fascinated. The principal, who had just weeks ago been worried about budget cuts, now found herself fielding calls from the Pentagon and historical preservationists. And at the center of it all was Rex, the dog that had sensed what no human ever could, tearing through not just canvas, but history itself. The town would never see that school the same way again. Rex wasn't just a K-9 officer anymore. He had become a local legend. No, a national hero. Rex stood beside Officer Daniels, his partner and handler, wearing a shiny new medal around his neck. The town council awarded him the K-9 Valor Medal, a rarely given honor, and named him an honorary citizen of the town. But for Daniels, who had trained with Rex since he was a pup, it wasn't the medals or media that mattered. He knelt beside Rex that evening, scratched behind his ears, and whispered, "You saved more than just a secret today, buddy. You reminded us of what's been hidden for far too long."